morning. You're listening to AVNewsCast.com.
All right, you did it.
Got it. I pulled it off today.
You did it.
Nice job, Jeff.
Thank you.
The #1 news talk radio program in the Antelope Valley.
Correct.
Today we've got a little bit different show.
Yeah.
We've got a guest on the show, as you all can see, and you're going to hear him in just a second. Andy Hughes. He is the supervising social worker for the Department of Children's Family Services.
Mm-hmm.
We've
That's
had
a mouthful.
It is. We've had Director Browning on the show many times, but we've never really been able to really get into, other than a cursory level, really what the agency is about and a lot of the intricacies. So that's what we're going to do today, and it's going to be a regular segment. And what's funny, Angelina?
Just you navigating through that.
I'm trying.
Yeah,
I'm using big words.
Yeah, you.
Okay.
You did okay.
I'm using big words. Andy, welcome to the show.
Good morning.
Yes, welcome.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Back when, and we talked a little bit off air, back when Gabriel Fernandez happened and he was killed, there was a light shined on the agency.
Absolutely.
Okay? For a lot of different reasons, but there was a light shined, and then we recently just had that blue ribbon report. One thing that we didn't know and that everyone didn't know was how overworked the agency really is. Okay, that was one thing that came out, and I know that you're a supervising social worker. We listened to right after that. The agency sent. I think his name is Brandon. He's underneath Director Browning.
Okay. Unfamiliar with him.
Someone came up here and they spoke to the city of Palmdale
That's
and spoke to Lancaster and things were very fresh at that time.
Yes.
He
Very
wasn't
raw.
really prepared.
Oh, yes.
Okay.
He had a slideshow and it just didn't.
It just didn't work.
It was like,
okay.
dude, not the slideshow.
No, it didn't work. And we've had Gabriel's grandparents on the show
Yes.
and all of that. And I don't really want to get into Gabriel Fernandez,
it's not about that today.
Pardon me?
It's not about that per se.
No, it's not. But I have so many questions that people have sent by text and email and all of that kind of stuff. But explain a little bit about what you do, Andy.
Okay. Currently, I am a supervising children's social worker in the Resource Family Assessment Unit of the Adoptions and Permanency Resource Division.
That's a lot.
Okay? That's a mouthful, right?
Yeah.
It took me about 5 times to get that on the phone message when I first came on. Pretty much, so my job is to supervise a group of workers who go out and assess the homes of people who want to become foster parents or adopt a child.
Okay.
Now, there are 2 different groups of people who want to foster/adopt. There are the people who, my grandson was taken from his mother, and I want to take care of that child. Or I know this child from church, and this child is important to me, and I know they're in a foster home. What can I do to take care of that child? We call those people non-related extended family members or relatives, relative caregivers. I do not deal with those assessments. Okay, my workers deal with the type of people who just say, you know what, I think it would be important for me to be a foster parent for my community, or I want to adopt because that's the way I want to raise a child.
So me. You deal
Yes,
with me.
exactly.
Okay.
We're dealing with the type of people.
Good luck dealing with her, because that's a real...
We deal with lots of people
Yeah.
you, about 1,600 a year.
Yeah. And you need more.
We need more. That's the thing. We have 16 staff to do your assessments.
Wow.
Now, get that, countywide, we were talking about that, countywide, there's only 16 people
that evaluate each and
for the
every
entire
people like
county
you.
of LA.
Oh my God.
And remember, we've got people doing your training. So Miss White, who is the DCFS employee who takes care of your class,
Right.
she used to go to every class in addition to...
Oh my God.
So we scaled that back a little bit. Once you're approved, let's say that you wanted to be an adoptive parent for a child that you don't know yet. Miss White would, or somebody like Miss White, would be responsible for trying to find a child for you in the, however many children are in foster care at any given time.
That's amazing.
Once that match is tentatively made, then Miss White or whoever, one of my 16 people, their job would then be to kind of facilitate that match, work towards actually getting the child placed. But it's a very active role because you've got lots of questions, the child has lots of questions, there's a lot of work that goes on in that process. And then once the placement is actually made and stable, that's when Miss White or somebody like Miss White would be done with your case. So we've got 1,600 people per year, 16 workers to do the training, the assessment, the matching, the placement stabilization. Yeah. It's a lot of work.
It is. It's a lot of work. We've heard the stories of kids within the agency that, maybe were taken in on an emergency situation, what have you, but they haven't been placed, and we've heard stories of kids sleeping in hallways and office buildings, and all this. And, so then we said, what can we do for the community up here in the Antelope Valley? And that's when we decided to co-sponsor and promote weekly segments or bi-weekly segments, about your agency and things that go on.
Absolutely.
Specifically focused, and today I want to talk about kids that haven't been placed, people here in the Antelope Valley that may want to open their home, and may want to do something for these kids. Jeff, our co-host, is an adoptive parent, adopted 2 children through the agency. Angelina's going through the process. Yeah, Angelina's going through the process now.
And it's scary. It's very scary. But I think that the community at large has the same misconceptions that I did.
Okay.
That every single one of these kids got issues, not issues that were not put upon them by their parent, but behavior issues.
Okay.
For whatever reason, I thought, these are bad kids. And, I need to get some training because these are going to be bad kids. Not because of what they went through, but because of their nature. Like just bully kids or whatever.
Okay.
And I also thought it's going to be a bunch of people that don't want to work, which, I'm not knocking you if you don't want to work, as long as you make, a life for yourself, but not on the back of a child. So I kind of thought that was going to be the case. But when I went to the first class and I was told, if you have a DUI, don't even talk to me. If you have a felony, don't even talk to me. If you don't have a full-time job that you can take care of yourself, don't even talk to me. I'm like, wow, there's all these misconceptions out there.
It's an eye-opener, isn't it?
It is a huge eye-opener. And then the flip side is, we as a general public, like when Gabriel happened, I immediately said I want to do it. And I told Steve, and Steve was like, Angelina, relax. Because I have a trigger finger.
She tends to jump in.
I jump, so I took my time.
She did.
But it never went away.
Sure,
so now
healing,
so now I'm like, okay, I'm ready. I'm going to go through the process. It's still extremely scary.
Yeah.
But I'm on the other side of that now. And if I felt like that, I'm thinking, how many other people feel like that?
Absolutely.
How many other people have that spare room, especially in the Antelope Valley?
Right, they do.
I mean, give me a break,
Some people
you guys.
do. Right.
Don't get off your couch. Stop talking about it. Stop being surprised about what's going on in the community. If they're not being parented by their parents, be their parent.
Absolutely. And from my perspective, we are looking for people who, when we have to take a child out of a parent's home, these will be stable, solid individuals to take care of those kids who need to feel included, need to feel loved, need to be supported, need to be strengthened. We don't want people who have violent tendencies in their past. We don't want people who make impulsive, rash decisions. So it becomes a very invasive process, not in a bad way, but we need to know who you are.
Yeah.
We need to know how you make decisions. We need to know what you think about, with regards to child behavior and
homosexuality,
all that kind of stuff.
Teenagers with big mouths,
because
all of those
because
things.
Ultimately, we're expecting you to be quote unquote a better parent,
right,
than the parent that we had to take the child from. It's always with a heavy heart that we remove a child from a birth parent.
Well, that's nice to hear.
We don't like to do it. We do it when we have to.
Right.
There are other avenues we can go. In light of Gabriel, we did